Let's start again with the informed consent. So, ano nga ba to? So, the informed consent is a process that ensures the participants in research join voluntarily because they have enough information about the study. It is not just a form for the participants to sign. Tandaan, informed consent is a process kung saan yung mga potential na participants natin ay binibigyan natin ng clear and enough information tungkol sa study mo. Lalo na tungkol sa goal ng study, kung anong dapat nilang gawin, yung risk, yung benefits, ano ba yung karapatan nila, pati yung anytime pwede silang mag-withdraw. Now, why informed consent is important? Because it protects the participants' autonomy, meaning they get to decide for themselves based on the full information. We call it autonomy, ha? So, it also respects their dignity and fulfills ethical and legal standards in research. To make consent truly informed, the information given should be clear and understandable. So avoid technical or complicated words. Voluntary, walang pressure or coercion. Comprehensive, it covers the purpose, the procedures, risk, the benefits, confidentiality, and right to withdraw. Documented, usually via a signed consent form. But remember, the process matters. Now, let's take a look at the Philippine context. There are two frameworks that you should know. The first one, the Code of Ethics for Philippine Psychologists. So this code specifically governs psychologists in the Philippines. It requires that informed consent be clear and understandable, whether is it for assessment, therapy, or psychological research. For vulnerable population like minors or persons with cognitive impairments, special protection is required. So yung minors, they must provide assent, but the parents also or the guardians must also give formal consent. So because of this, the first attendance code is psychologist. The second code is the National Ethical Guidelines for Health and Related Research. So this guidelines covers health and related research in the Philippines, and it emphasizes the consent must be obtained voluntarily without any coercion or undue influence. Tandaan din natin that consent is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process. So, ibig sabihin, all throughout the study, kailangan updated ang mga participants natin. What else? Informed consent is about respecting participants' autonomy and dignity through clear, voluntary, and continuous communication. First, an informed consent form must include essential information for the participants. So this includes the title of the research and investigators' information. So for example, the study on stress levels in college students, along with the researcher's name and contact details. Letter B, the purpose and objectives of the study. So you have to clearly explain the goal, such as studying how social media affects mental health. Letter C, description or procedures or assessment. Kailangan ma-explain natin kung anong gagawin sa participants. Sasagot ba sila ng survey or i-interviewin sila? B, risk, discomfort, and potential benefits. So kung magkakaroon ng slight stress or discomfort, anong gagawin ninyo? So, write the briefing after. Letter E, confidentiality assurance. So, how participants know that the details are protected. So, such as gagamit ka ng code kesa sa mga pangalan. Letter F, voluntary participation. So anytime, pwede silang mag-withdraw without penalty. G, contact details for questions or complaints. So, para pwede ma-contact anytime. Special considerations for vulnerable populations. For vulnerable groups, there are additional steps. A, for minors, assent must be obtained depending on their age. Verbal for ages 7 to 12, written for ages 12 to 15. And of course, bigyan din natin ng full consent at 15 or older together with the parental consent. B, for individuals with diminished capacity, consent must be obtained from legally authorized representative while respecting the participants' wishes. C, the language and method of explanation must be accessible, culturally appropriate, and easy to understand. D, both oral and written explanation should be provided in simple language so everyone can understand. E, participants should be given enough time to ask questions and consider their decisions. F, consent must be documented through signed forms. G, it is also important to continually reaffirm consent, especially in long-term or sensitive studies. In the Philippines, there are unique challenges in ethical research, such as the language barriers and the literacy levels that require translation and simplification of consent forms. Cultural sensitivity when discussing mental health due to prevailing stigma. Remote or electronic consent poses challenges because of the digital divide in some areas. And for example, in UPM Research Ethics Board template, they promote plain language consent that can be adopted for different groups and culture. The summary and best practices, first and foremost, always respect the participants' autonomy by communicating clearly in a culturally sensitive manner. So this means using the language and explanations that your participants can understand, taking into account their cultural background. Second, it is crucial to protect vulnerable groups by following proper assent and permission protocols. Third, always document consent meticulously and treat consent as an ongoing process, not a one time formality. And finally, Ensure that your consent procedures are fully aligned with the Philippine ethical codes, such as the Code of Ethics for Philippine Psychologists and your institution's policy. So thank you all for your active participation today. So remember, ethical research is not just about following rules. So it is about respecting and protecting the people who make your research possible. So kapag naging fourth year na kayo, so always prioritize the dignity, the rights, and well-beings of your participants in every step of your work. So if you have questions, so don't hesitate to reach out. So thank you so much. And the third attendance code is participants.